future.
That's right.
I shall do my best.
Attempt to stimulate the consciousness.
Tell me, how in the world do you get all those things done?
Difficult, but not impossible.
Can you be taught how to Dougie tonight at 11? But first, in a disturbing late-season move, GM Brian Burke has put longest-serving Leaf Carlton on waivers. Burke went on to say that he was disappointed with the 61-year-old mascot's commitment to back-checking and Coach Ron Wilson's grill-him-before-you-skill-him ice time. A 400-pound serial killer has escaped from a minimum security facility in Alberta. Police and I both consider him to be at large. In movie news this week, Bradley Cooper stars in Limitless, a story about a pill who takes a pill. They really should have called this movie The Pill. No stars. The Beastie Boys are set to release their first non-instrumental album in 8 years, named Hot Sauce Committee Part 2. It is noted that the band is yet to release Hot Sauce Committee Part 1, at the time opting for a decent chipotle mayo instead. Well, it's good to be back doing Talk Toronto in Toronto. After traveling to the States to check out schools, I really started to miss back home. Ah, homesick, aren't ya? CBC comedian and Second City alumnus Ron James, what brings you to the show? Well, I can empathize. Whether it's the snow-capped mountains of Red Deer or the night train through the Saguenay Valley on the way to Kennebecassis, the twists and turns rich with the anecdotes of our forefathers from generations past. Or braving the frozen tundra of Fort Liard with nothing more than a parka toque and a belly full of ambition, plowed by the sweat labor sons of miners so gosh darn cold you got a pair of snot popsicles your $37 Starbucks couldn't defrost. Well, Ron, it seems like you have a pretty despondent view of your country. I got my limbs, Uncle Steven's taking care of me, buddies coming up the driveway with a 2-4 of Glace Bay's finest. Despondent? I'm doing fine. Ronnie James, everyone. The man who goes to innocuous cities across Canada and prefers larger, confusing words like innocuous. Tiger Woods appeared as a guest on Jimmy Fallon this week, and for once, Jimmy wasn't the most awkward part of the show. Cut to that. Welcome back, everybody. Our next guest comes to us from the doghouse. In local news, the majority interest in MLSE is up for sale. Rogers don't want it. True North don't want it. Hey, Jim, your BlackBerry? It's ringing. It's Gary. Gary Bettman? Let's be friends. Pick up. Come on. Major advances in scientific imaging technology have produced a PET scanner that can recreate a 3D X-ray image of the brain of a small, freely moving animal. And before you ask, no, there isn't an app for that. Ontario is considering alleviating some of their liquor laws, including extending last call it functions and drinking on the street outside beer tents. Yeah, because that's the first time I'll have done that. In Britain this week, unemployment reached a 17-year high and the markets continue to face heavy volatility. Here to comment, Britain's Chancellor for the Exchequer, MP Ed Balls.
Yes, please, call me Ed.
No. Mr. Balls, you played an instrumental role in the previous parliament led by PM Gordon Brown.
Yes, you might even say I was his right-hand man. Balls went to the wars more than a few times during his tenure.
But you are clumsy. Remember that time you tripped, Balls?
You'll have to excuse me. Balls was deep into helping solve the financial crisis. The worst part was the business trips. Balls busting all over Asia for months at a time.
Well, at least I can see how you were able to manage in Parliament so well, what, with your wife being an MP.
You know how it is. Balls always wants to be close to his woman. She's my balls and chain.
But sadly, I heard you were defeated in your leadership election for Labour Party last year. Any reason why you think that happened?
With respect to the environment, I took too loose a stance.
Sucks, Balls.
It sure does. Critics felt that I really never squeezed the issues.
One more question. You were fined £60 for talking on your cell phone while driving. Any response?
The allegations of poppycock. Balls would never be that stupid. I mean, do I look like I'm nuts? Balls out.
MP Ed Balls. Academy Award winner Steven Soderbergh is set to retire, stating, like when athletes hang on 1 or 2 seasons too long, it's kinda sad. Seeing as how Soderbergh's next 2 picks are a Liberace biopic and a 60s cop drama, thankfully we'll never be left wondering. Breaking news from Rosedale, the average angle of noses has just reached a new record of 103.5 degrees. The community wishes to congratulate Mrs. Lori Epworth, who just got work done for the third time in helping the community achieve this very, very unprestigious honor. And finally tonight, the Dalai Lama formally prepared his resignation to widespread disappointment. The Dalai Lama expects some resistance, most of which should be relatively passive. Well, that's the news. Join us next week when the Double T bumps heads with TBS. Good night, and good satire.